welcome to yet another podcast by Ashwastik. Today we are going to have a look at a very interesting tool by Google called NotebookLM. It's Google's AI-powered research assistant designed to supercharge your thinking. Whether you are a student, a researcher, writer, knowledge worker, this tool helps you make sense of complex information faster and smarter. So in this video we will explore what NotebookLM is, how it works and how you can use it to save time and boost your productivity. NotebookLM, short for language model. It is an experimental tool from Google that lets you create AI assisted notebooks by uploading your own documents, notes, PDFs or even research papers. And once you upload them, the AI, which is powered by Google Gemini, can instantly summarize, answer questions, and even help brainstorm ideas based on your material. Ever imagine that you can actually talk to the material or the PDF real time? Well, that's the magic that NotebookLM has now. There are four important aspects of NotebookLM. Contextual AI. It just doesn't answer general questions. It tailors responses based on your uploaded content. Source aware summarization, which is NotebookLM generates part summaries with citations from your own documents. You can even ask questions either through typing or even through audio. Yes, we are going to have a look at it very soon. And prompt templates. So if you want a blog post, outline, script, you just ask and it will create it for you. So whether you are studying for exams, analyzing dense reports or drafting content, NotebookLM is like ChatGPT but hyper focused on your own material. Of course, it does not limit you to having your own material, but you can even discover sources on internet or probably ask Gemini to do deep research for you and then use that material as source. So without further ado, let's get into the real meat of the thing. Now we are going to have three use cases. The first being, let's say you're a student and you want to quickly prepare for interview based on data structures and especially sorting algorithms. Of course, uh, in usual case you have to Google and then find out a lot of sources, go through the material and then start learning. Or the other way around is you just search on YouTube and start going through videos. Both these ways are kind of time consuming, don't you think? What you essentially want is you want a quick summary and then start preparation, right? So let's jump into it. Let's start with our first use case of sorting algorithms. So let's create a new notebook. Here it asks you for sources. Now as I said, if you already have sources available, nothing like it, you can just use it over here. But if you don't, there's still way. Discover sources. This is where you put in your query and let NotebookLM find out the sources for you. The other way around is using Google Docs. If you have Google Docs already available, or for that matter Google Slides, you can just link it over here. If you know websites like, for example, Geeks for Gigs or Stack Overflow, any learning website that you are aware of, you can just link it over here. As I said, if you are aware of YouTube videos which speak about sorting algorithms, you can feed that information, link to the YouTube videos essentially, or else you can copy paste. But let's in this case let's stick to discover sources, because let's say I don't have any study material readily available. Let's now use a query for it to find sources for us. So I will write, give me in-depth information on sorting algorithms in data structures. Focus on let's say comparison based algorithms. Now let's submit. Let it do its magic. Now it is going through internet and finding out some relevant websites to fetch data from. So here you can see that it has got some sources like comparison, sort algorithms, time complexity. This looks pretty relevant. See, it has also gone through gigs for gigs. Okay, so let's import. So now what it is doing is it is going through all the data that is available across these sources, maybe 10, 15, 10 sources, and then it is going to summarize whatever that is available on these websites. So the left hand side talks about the sources that you have, or probably either you have uploaded or maybe just like discover sources. You discovered those sources and then added them over here. Based on these sources, it creates or generates a summary. The center section is chat. This is what I was talking about. Learning is fun again, guys. So now you can directly chat with the content that is available. Have you ever imagined that whatever the text that probably you can go through, you can now directly chat with that text? You don't have to, just sit around and just read and read and read. You can directly talk to the content. And then on the right hand side, there are a few options that you can make use of. For example, you can create FAQs. Let's say you're preparing for an interview and you want a quick summary or maybe quick FAQs available. You can just create it out of these websites. Then you have briefing talk, which will summarize all the information that is present across these websites. You can have study guide and whatnot. So we will go through each and every use case over here. So stick around. So now you can see that it has already summarized the art of sorting, and it has given us a very nice brief summary out of it. But you can even now ask, let's say, give me comparison between bubble and merge sort. Let's see. This is cool, right? Ever imagine that you can actually chat with the content? See, now it is giving you the good summary, a concise summary of what bubble sort is, what merge sort is, and it is also comparing based on time complexity and space complexity. Typically, the questions that interviewers ask in the interview. There's another sample question: explain the merit taxonomy of sorting algorithms, or what is the comparison based. Let's see what this is. What is the comparison based sorting lower bound? So what this concept is. Now it is giving you the answer to that, right? So this is what I feel is a quicker way of learning. You can customize the way you want. You can have more sources to get more information on. You can even add your some of the best sources that you know of. Now let's come back to this section. What it essentially is about, as I said, you can create a FAQ for preparation of interviews, like what typically are frequently asked questions. If I click over here, you can see that now it is generating based on 10 sources that are available over here. Now if I open that, now it is giving you a quick FAQ wherein you can read the questions like what is the fundamental lower bound on the number of comparisons needed for any comparison based sorting algorithm, and what is the worst case, isn't the time complexity and space complexity. So now you can see that it has prepared a lot of questions. Of course, you can convert this to source as well. Once you do that, this section will come over here and will be used as a source going ahead. If I go to briefing talk, it essentially generates a nice summary covering some important aspects. So if I click over here, you can see that it has covered what is decision tree model, then specific comparison based algorithms, which are like insertion sort, selection, merge, quicksort. I'm sure these names sounds familiar to you. Cool, right? So this is how you can accelerate your learning. A nice way to even chat with the data that you have. Now let's go back, and let's say you are a professional, and you have come across a technology, a messaging queue, like Kafka, but you have no idea like what Kafka is, and you just don't want to sit around and do the research on your own. Let's make NotebookLM do that for you, and then you can focus on some other good things like having chai. Okay, so give me in-depth information on Kafka, how and where it is used, and say focus on architecture and ways to. Oh, we have already said about usage. So it's architecture, let's say. Submit. Let it discover the sources. So you can see again it has found some relevant documents online. You can either select all, or probably you can select based on what you feel relevant. What I mean, let's import all. So in the free version of Notebook, the limitation is that you can add only around 50 sources. I guess for paid version it is around 300 to 500 sources, and you don't have to pay, as in the license is included in your Google AI suite, so you don't have to pay anything extra on top of it. It is already part of AI suite. So now you can see again it has created a nice summary out of it. Now let's focus on other two things which we did not cover in the last use case. Mind map. You can say it is a very concise way of learning. Uh, it represents whatever information is present in form of graphics, and you can see that it has partitioned the information in sections like architecture, use cases, key features, core concepts and whatnot. Let's say if I go to architecture, uh, you can see that now it is about distributed system, broker as a server, then you have replication, message batching, and this just does not stop over here. See, you can see that core concepts like topics, partitions. Now let's say you want to find out more details around these, you can just click over here and it will take you to the information that it has compiled using these sources. So if I now click over here, what is Kafka broker, then it is giving you all the information related to the broker. So the advantage of this thing is that using the mind map, interact with the information, but using the map, and it becomes really easy because graphical information is usually consumed very well than text based. So this is about mind map. Another cool thing is about deep dive conversation. So not only in form of chat and textual or even graphical information, it can actually create a podcast out of the information that is present over here. For example, let's say you want to have a quick hands-on on Kafka, and you don't have time to interact with this thing sitting in front of it. What you can do is you can create a podcast out of it. So what we are asking Notebook LM is create a podcast, but focus on these things: so architecture and you can say use cases. Generate. So what it is going to do is it is going to create a podcast in which two hosts are going to talk about Kafka, and then you can just listen to it while on your way to office. But this just does not stop over here. I will show you quickly. Let it first generate that. Meantime, let's focus other things like study guide, which we did not cover in the last use case. So what this study guide is, it is going to prepare some probably quiz like things. Yeah, now you can see that it has created quiz of 10 questions and the answers to them. So imagine you are a teacher, a professor, you are going to cover this and then probably you're going to follow up with quiz. So don't have to sit around and then prepare quiz on your own. You can just create a quiz like in 5 seconds flat. And then again you can create a briefing doc. Imagine you're a professor, you're covering this topic. Now you have so many of avenues to first learn and then teach. Okay, so now it has created a podcast of around 18 minutes. Let's listen to it, how it sounds. And then I will talk about a uh, very interesting feature about interactive mode. So you don't have to, just listen to the podcast. You can actually participate in that.
Welcome to the deep dive. So you probably heard the name Apache Kafka floating around, especially if you're, involved in anything related to modern data.
It's pretty hard to miss these days.
Right, it's this hugely popular open source distributed streaming platform. I mean, it's the backbone for data pipelines in over 6.
See, it has two hosts and they are now talking about Kafka. So let's say you want to probably interrupt them and ask questions, because why just sit around and listen to a podcast? This is taking one level up. So what I'm going to do is I will again play the podcast, let them let it run for some time, and then I'm going to interrupt and ask a question live.
Welcome to the deep dive. So you've probably heard the name Apache Kafka floating around, especially if you're, involved in anything related to modern data.
It's pretty hard to miss these days.
Right, it's this hugely popular open source distributed streaming platform.
Now let me join.
I mean, it's the backbone for data pipelines in over 60% of the Fortune 100?
That's the figure, yeah.
Hey there. Want to share your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Yes, can you speak more about what these brokers are?
Absolutely, that's a great question.
It's fundamental to understanding Kafka,
Okay, let's unpack this. So when we talk about a Kafka cluster,
which is the foundation of Kafka.
it's made up of these things called brokers.
Think of a broker as a single server. It's a piece of hardware, a machine.
And a Kafka cluster has many of these brokers working together.
Exactly. The articles we looked at describe a broker as a server that can hold multiple topics.
And each broker in the cluster gets its own unique ID number.
What's fascinating here is that you don't need to connect to every single
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, tell me more about topic.
Definitely. Topics are really central to how Kafka organizes data.
They absolutely are. It's where the streams of messages live.
So a topic is basically a named category.
Think of it like a...
Wow, they have taken studying to whole another level. So this is about Notebook LM and the two use cases that we have seen. But of course, this is not only for people studying, right? You can use it for your everyday thing as well. Let's for example, you want to go on a vacation. Well, who doesn't like, right? So let's say I'm planning a trip to Switzerland, but I don't want to do research on my own. What I can do is I will simply do that research on Notebook LM. But this time we are going to follow another workflow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Gemini and I have put up a query planning an 8-day trip to Switzerland from Mumbai. do in-depth research on places to stay, visit, eat, and then around Interlaken and Lucerne. There's I heard there is this Swiss travel pass which covers most of the modes of transport, like buses, trains, and whatnot. And then I'm asking like where can I stay during this stay, and given I'm a vegetarian, I would like to know more about where can I have vegetarian food around these places. Of course, you don't have to start with such a big query. You can start with small queries, but deep research is all about having your questions first sorted, so that Gemini can go and do a very deep analysis. Because let's say if you have small queries, you can probably use other models, like Flash and personalization. So these are helpful for your smaller tasks. But if you want to do a whole lot of study, you can probably make use of deep research, wherein you have sorted out the query, you want to cover different aspects of that research, and then ask that question. So here you can see that after passing the query, it has come up with these 8 questions, and it is just asking you whether are you okay with this. If not, you can edit your plan, you can ask more questions or probably drop anything out of this. And once you start research, Gemini essentially goes through hell lot of data, so much so that I have already prepared this, as in I have already used this query, and it has given me a very detailed Google document. I have saved that to save time, otherwise this podcast will go on forever. But essentially it takes around 10 to 15 minutes, goes through a lot of data, and then prepares a very detailed document. So let me go back and create a new notebook, and this time we are going to choose a file. So this is the travel document that Gemini created when I started this research. So output of this research is this document that I have already saved. So here you can see that it has given me a good summary, a good gist. Like it has preserved the context of I'm a Indian, given I have just mentioned that I'm traveling from Mumbai. So now you can see that it never forgets who you are and what kind of context you are providing. We already spoke about the sections over here, like what it is and what are mind maps and all. But here I'm just going to show you another thing is, maybe let's ask a simple question: what can I do at Mount Titlis? The activities usually people do. So here you can see that year round what activities are there, or winter activities like skiing and all. So a good way to interact with the data that you have. But I wanted to show you another good thing is, even though you have one source, which is a thorough research done by Gemini, you don't have to stop over here. You can again go, and probably this time what I will do is I will ask, go through YouTube videos of, since I'm Indian, I will focus on Indian travelers, because mostly I'm going to run into the same issues that these travelers go through or run into. So go through YouTube videos of Indian travelers focusing on, let's say, vegetarian food options and visa requirements. Let's see if it can find such sources for us, especially YouTube videos. So now you can see it is not differentiating between, even though we have said YouTube videos, it could find only one. So let's make use of that. Import. Let me go back. I can now manually provide link of this video. This looks good. So let me again go back, add yet another link. Okay, so now you can see that it has 4 sources and it is now compiling data based on all these 4 sources. Where can I get vegetarian food at Interlaken? Okay, so now it is talking about Delhi Darbar restaurant and welcome India King. So similarly, you can again customize and create a podcast so that you can listen to it or ask questions. So this is all about Notebook LM. And as I said, you don't have to restrict yourself only for doing research related to your work or technology. You can use it for anything and everything, right? So whether you're drowning in documents or trying to work smarter, this thing can give you a serious edge. If you want more AI tool breakdowns and smart productivity tips, hit that like and subscribe. Drop a comment if you have already tried Notebook LM and let us know what all use cases you are using it for. Thank you.